just letting you know my tomato plants are gone.
Wow.
Just a hard rain, man. I don't know. My tomato plants have gotten so big. I have tied them up and tied them up and tied them up. But a hard rain like this, they,
Well, I mean, it's better than no rain at all.
I water them every morning.
Hmm. You should already be getting.
I got 30 or 40 tomatoes, but not one of them have turned.
For real?
Yeah, they're this big around, but they're just as green as they can be. So actually, I stopped watering yesterday because I thought maybe I'm watering too much.
The sun. I mean, July 4th you should have already had tomatoes.
I've got green ones.
Huh.
But ain't none of them turned. But I did notice, I went by some gardens and I don't see a lot of other people's turning either.
Do you like fried green tomatoes?
No.
That people do? Oh.
Ugh.
You ever tried it? It's disgusting.
When did it start doing that, Woody?
It only does it when it's real bad. So
it's caulk. Right?
Yeah. So it's like
it hadn't been caulk since we moved in.
Yeah. So it really ain't nothing a lot. It's just when it does happen, it happens. You know what I'm trying to say? Like
it happens at the worst time. Do we not have any towels here?
No, I that is a error on my part. I got paper towels with.
He said that's an error on my part.
That's an error. I will fix that. All right, bro.
I know
we're live on Facebook for the first time in a long time.
He will he'll send me a bill.
I'll have some towels with the logo on it. Don't worry.
No, when I send him a bill tomorrow, he will he'll say, "Can you knock off a couple $1,000 for that rain?"
Yeah, the rain, the leak, that's worth at least.
All right, I'm ready to go.
All right, everybody. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting on Grove Street FM. Brought to you by Media Squatch. It's Life, Liberty, Happiness with your host, Brian Schley. With Trent Warner.
All right, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Life, Liberty, Happiness with your host, Brian Sly. Trent Warner in the studio. Fight. We got a great, phenomenal show. It is wonderful to be back from vacation. The studio's got upgrades. Everything is just flowing right now. Woody.
It is flowing.
Yeah. Got a little leak. We got rain for the first time in what?
I'll be happy with any rain.
40 days and 40 nights, it seems like. But anyway, exciting episode. We've got Kent Roby coming up right around 5:30. Stay tuned for that. We'll get some answers maybe to what's going on with the assassination attempt. Kent formerly worked in that environment, so maybe he can give us some little insight of what the heck's going on there.
Yeah, I've got some questions.
So we got a lot to cover and go over. But second hour, we will have our top 10,
Yeah.
which is places or things you remember, like events that happened that you would remember where you were.
Yeah.
Right. That should be fun. And then we'll talk a little RNC that's going on this week. We got a little feedback. What's going on there?
I was testing the live. We
Oh.
value users' feedback
Oh,
here.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure everybody.
Somebody already complaining.
I'm combating that right now, just to make sure. Just want to make sure we're
Oh.
live. We are live,
It's
everybody.
pouring down raining. And I mean, thank God we've dying for rain. But
How come we can never just have
no,
a rain?
it's not going to happen.
Like it can't just be a half inch here and then another day 3/4 inch, something like that. It's always nothing and then 3 inches.
So hopefully, if you're listening on
Marty's
the app,
house.
if you're listening on the app, if you want to see us,
Yeah.
I missed that.
So did Marty.
If you're if if you're listening on the app, but you want to see us, tune into Facebook. We are actually Facebook Live right now.
Yeah.
And on X, on my X account.
Look at
Heck
here.
yeah.
We're on X.
Hey, how about Elon moving
The
X?
platform.
Oh yeah, God, just so
X
much-
and SpaceX
yes.
moving. See you, Cal. See you, Gavin.
Yeah. Goodbye. Anyway, we got a wonderful show to get to. We'll try to get to everything. So, without further ado, we'll move on to this day in
And
history.
now for the rest of the story, this day in history on Life, Liberty, Happiness.
Woody, I just noticed I never gave you an agenda. Hopefully, you've got
Oh boy.
everything.
Here we go.
All right. In 1955, this one's for Woody.
Yeah, let's do it.
Disneyland in California opened its doors. Have you visited?
Wait, no, it's on the books. We have a reason we haven't, but it is on the books to visit.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what was your most important this day in history there, Trent?
JFK.
Moving on.
JFK Jr. died in a plane crash.
That's right. I remember.
1999.
Yeah, I do remember that.
What's the most significant part of him dying in that crash? He was likely going to beat Hillary for the Senate
That's
campaign.
right. That's right. Yeah.
And
yeah,
they were both Democrats going for the
Yeah.
primary.
Hmm.
And he lost. Well, lost his life. And she won.
It'd be nice to have RFK on Jr. to talk about the Kennedy curse, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
Right?
Maybe we get RFK on. Jr.
Isn't that what I said? RFK Jr.?
We should have him on.
Yeah, we should.
Oh, okay.
No, I'd love to. All right, moving on. Drama. All right. Cut one.
Oh boy, y'all caught me. There we go. That's not your cut one, my bad.
No, it's not. All right. That is the Hillbilly Elegy.
Mhm.
That is JD Vance, the newly named vice presidential candidate for
Yeah.
Donald Trump.
It's from his book.
I missed out. I thought it was going to be a Trump slide ticket, but apparently JD Vance slid in at the last second.
I don't think I would have voted for that ticket.
Of course you would have.
We would have had you lead. Trump would have had to have been second.
Nah. I come
He would have
second to that.
he would have stepped to the side.
Oh, I'll fight him. Fight.
Mhm.
Anyway,
It's a good movie. I remember recommending it.
you've
others.
seen the movie?
Many years ago, I'd say 5 years ago,
Okay.
whenever it was. I remember saying I liked it and recommending it to others, but man, my mind is now forgotten what it was really about.
I'm going to get off on a little bit of a tangent here, but we've got a couple minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm saying this as an outsider looking in. Everything is always, the media is a narrative. Let's just say it that way.
Mhm.
So It's hard to concentrate when you see Woody over there scrambling. They,
I looked down and it was under my feet under the power strip. I don't want to.
uh,
I don't want to get lit up over here.
so I mean, it's one of those things where I'm going to call it out because I don't know what they mean when they introduced JD Vance as being the new vice presidential candidate. Right? They keep calling him the middle class warrior, blue collar guy. Okay, I've looked at his bio. I still can't find anything that he's ever done that's blue collar. I like the guy. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying. I'm just saying, where do they come up with this stuff?
I think that's the part of it. He brought himself out of Appalachia and went to Yale, went to the Marine Corps, went to law school. So yeah, he made himself something out of poverty.
I guess when I think that, I think,
like Ben Carson.
this guy worked in a factory, tried to just make ends meet and then worked his way out of that. When you say blue collar, I mean, that's what I think.
Yeah.
I don't think it's where you came from.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people come from, Amazon factory. Their parents worked there, but that doesn't make them blue collar.
Yeah.
I guess that's where, when I saw that, I thought, wait a minute, what in his background makes him? Then don't get me wrong, he fights for the blue collar people.
How crazy is it that Vivek and he would have gone to law school at the same time and
Isn't
used
that
to watch
nuts?
football games together at the bar?
Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy.
I mean, that is just wow.
Man.
Imagine those conversations at 20 years old.
Yeah. Movie theater drama. Let me tell you this one, Woody.
Right.
Take my daughter to the movies while we're at the beach last week. They have the recliner seats. Have you ever been in those?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So I got to hop up to get in it.
Where they feed you or just the seats are reclined?
Just the seats recline.
Okay, yeah.
And so I recline back. We're getting ready to watch the movie. Despicable Me 6, 7, 3, 4.
Oh, yeah.
whichever
Yeah.
one it is.
Okay.
Phenomenal, by the way.
I like a minion.
Oh,
Yeah.
they're great.
Good movies.
So anyway, I'm just sitting there, and it was actually Reagan is like, "Hey, you okay?" And I'm like, "No, I'm burning up." I had sweat rolling off my head, and man, I could not. I'm like, "There's no way a theater is this hot." I had no idea they were heated, and evidently, I had accidentally hit the heat button, and I had it all the way on high. Dude,
The
my-
seats?
Oh my God, yes.
Oh,
The seats were on fire. And I was like, no wonder. And I was drenched.
wow. Did you get up and go to a different seat to cool off?
I toughened it out like a real man.
Huh.
All right, what do you got?
I've been drama. I've been glued to the RNC.
Oh, it's been great.
I've been watching. So one thing that I cannot stand is the people that talk over the speaker.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I want to watch the speeches.
Yes.
I don't want to hear anybody's opinion.
Yep.
I don't want to hear what the theme of the day is.
Yep.
I just want to hear, and especially the Republican convention, because they're so inspirational. And this year has probably been the best of all RNCs that I've ever watched.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess maybe people say that every time they watch one, but these things have been emotional, mainly because of what happened to Trump, I guess.
Yeah.
And their strategy, like when it first started happening on day one, I was like, what are they doing? I don't even like. A buddy of mine texts me and goes, why are they shotgunning all the stars right from the beginning?
Yeah.
And it's because they put the everyday people at prime time.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what a great move that was.
Yes.
So I've just loved it. But what I can't stand, so for me to watch it, I've had to watch on do y'all have the app Rumble?
I do not.
I only downloaded it because Charlie Kirk told me to, but I've never seen a single post on it. But I got this little notification that says you could watch it live stream.
Okay.
So I don't get to see any of the pundits. I don't get to see any
That's
commercials. I literally see what's on stage. And when you compare that to what's on ABC News, it's laughable.
Oh, I know.
So I've got the top 5 speeches when we get to that
good.
part of the thing,
Yeah.
5 or 6.
Perfect.
The one that's number 1, which is how we end the show today, is I brought it for the show, is Vivek's speech.
Vivek, yeah. Is
One of the best I've ever seen at a
Yeah.
convention.
God, he's good.
Not 1 second of it was played
Are
on
you serious?
ABC News, the 24-hour channel. What they did do is they just why do they put it on split screen and show you a guy speaking?
I don't care.
But you don't get to hear him.
Yeah.
Instead, I'm
Okay.
listening to the ABC News person tell me what's
Yeah.
going on.
I heard C-SPAN has uninterrupted with no one on.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try C-SPAN tonight.
I don't have that on YouTube. I couldn't find it on YouTube
Oh.
TV.
Well, I got YouTube TV, so I don't.
I looked for it. So I just end up watching it on my phone and put it on the big screen
Yeah.
because it's really neat to watch and it's purposeful. If there's a black person that goes up there, they don't show them.
Are you serious?
If it's an out of shape white guy,
Dude,
they'll show the
that
speech.
woman, the black woman last night was
the best.
phenomenal.
Oh God, she
Dude,
was awesome.
I was ready to fight when she said, "Are you sick and tired of being,
Being sick and tired.
I was
Oh
like,
man,
"Yes,
she was
I
so
am."
good. Yes, that's why.
Oh.
That's why I love this RNC has been so good. I hope tonight's just as good.
Yeah,
Woody,
Right.
if you want a cool movie on Netflix, real quick,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Tell me about it.
Alone.
Ooh, okay.
the show or the movie.
It's just called Alone.
Yeah.
Alone.
There's a show called Alone.
Who's
but
that?
No,
there's
this is a movie called Alone.
Alone.
and- It's don't watch it with your wife, but make sure you don't let her watch it alone.
Oh.
It
Okay.
is so damn good,
Oh, who's in it? Oh, okay. It was a thriller. I love a good thriller.
dude.
Okay.
It is really good.
On the sports.
Oh,
Yep.
Man, I was looking up thrillers.
It's time for sports.
All right, quickly we'll go through sports. Ryan Blaney won at Pocono this weekend. Not really wasn't much drama there, right?
No,
That race is they got to do something different. You want to get rid of a race? There's one to get rid of.
do they still do 2 at Pocono?
Yes.
Ugh, I'm happy.
Remember
with
last
one.
year they tried the back-to-back weekends?
Yeah.
At Pocono.
I remember a
Stupid.
shenanigan like that. Yeah,
NASCAR will return to Indy at the Brickyard this weekend.
can't wait for that.
That I'm excited about.
I think you know what, having a little pause was fine because I was kind of getting tired of it.
Yeah.
But I'm interested in going back.
I'm okay if they want to do that on every track.
Yes, exactly. Do it every other year or something.
I'm waiting for Woody to do his twirl. Are you ready for another one?
Uh-oh.
No, you're.
Oh, I've got my eye on it now.
I see.
I got my eye on it.
All right. F1
If you
will be in Hungary this weekend for the Hungarian Grand Prix.
wonder if that'll make me eat breakfast.
I don't know,
Wake up hungry.
but I'm sure Max. It'll be interesting to see if Max has improved or if they are still struggling. Red Bull.
Hmm.
All-Star game. Nothing. Didn't even watch a pitch.
I've been so glued to the
With
RNC.
RNC, I agree. The only thing I cared about was Paul Skeens.
That's all I cared. I wanted to see him. How did he do?
Shutout inning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he didn't strike out anybody, but he got judged to
Yeah.
hit out. I mean, so he got them all out.
You know, I love PTI and I watch it. I cannot believe how elevated they got with each other because Skeens started. And Michael Wilbon was going nuts that it should have been Sale because he's a
geez,
better pitcher.
Stop. Just stop.
I know. I hate that stuff. And
Dude,
Tony
it's
Kornheiser
not
told him
even
you're an idiot.
close.
Yeah.
Dude.
It's an exhibition game of entertainment.
Yeah, and Paul Skeens is the guy right now.
Yeah.
Do you realize they have pulled him out twice with a no-hitter
Mm.
in the 6th inning?
Well, I hate that.
Well, I know, but I mean he's young and they're afraid, you know. But 2
Yeah.
in the 6th inning.
There's no Nolan Rhines.
He might be. He's a
I
big
mean,
joke.
They won't let him be.
No, I know. You know, yes, that's a great point. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's the only reason I cared to watch. And once he was done, I moved on. But
Did y'all see the drunk national anthem?
yes, I heard about it.
Have you heard it?
Yes,
Oh, I haven't even heard it.
it's bad.
Ugh.
Bad.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
Paul Skeens is favored to win the Cy Young Award. That's only happened once that the Rookie of the Year won the Cy Young. Who was that?
I'm going to guess Fernando Valenzuela.
Yes, you got it. How?
I was such a Dodger fan when I was 10,
Oh, that
11 years
dude.
old.
God,
He used to look up in the sky when he would pitch.
loved him.
Oh, he was great.
And I wasn't a Dodgers fan, but loved watching him.
Yeah.
What was his nickname?
Fat Mexican. I don't know.
Hey, Facebook. How you doing?
Yeah.
Well, I loved him. I said I loved him before. It was just a description. Gosh, what's wrong with adjectives?
I agree.
Mm.
I did like you just made me think of the senator or the congressman from Wyoming. Was it Sheehy?
Oh,
Oh,
His
Man.
pronouns. It
Yeah.
was funny.
by the way, dreamy.
Oh, good looking fellow.
Holy cow.
He walked out there and I said, he got my vote.
You know, I've got to say, you know, we may have lost Bob Good, right?
Right.
And we lost him to, what was the guy's name? The guy that
McGuire.
McGuire. Well, McGuire was a Navy SEAL,
Yeah.
right? And that was the ad that you heard.
Mhm.
Hung Cow,
Was
Navy SEAL.
Great.
That Sheehy guy, Navy SEAL,
Yep.
and the guy from Nevada, Brown.
Yeah.
He's been burned up.
Oh yeah.
He was in the military.
Yeah.
Dude, that to me is where the endorsements are coming from.
Yeah.
I don't think Trump cares what your really policies are. He wants military people to be
Yeah.
represented in Congress.
Winsome Sears.
Winsome Sears. Yeah.
It's becoming a trend.
Yep.
All right. Let's see.
Argentina.
Argentina in the Copa America finals. That was a good finals.
It's the first time in my life that I have watched soccer.
It was very
It's
entertaining.
exciting.
Yeah.
By the way, the Latin American soccer is a lot more fun
Yeah.
than watching the European soccer.
Very physical, and they do not flop, or at least the ones I saw.
Okay, so
Copa was terrible flopping.
the Latin Americans were.
Oh,
Which one are you talking about?
Spain and
Why are you calling them?
Oh,
both Copa?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Copa is the Latin America. Yes, you're right.
Dude, it's like a flop city, and then the
Yes.
Argentinian dude just kept telling people
Yes.
to get the hell back up.
Yeah.
I wish people would just kick somebody for flopping.
Correct. Yeah. No, I was talking about the Euro.
Yeah,
That's going on at the same time.
yeah, they were. That
And
was fun too.
Spain and England was in the finals, but
Yeah.
they're much more physical
Yeah,
and they don't flop.
they
I
did
didn't-
not flop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't
They were-
see as much flopping at all. But I'll say, man, those Latin Americans had those feet and can fly.
Yeah.
Golly,
Oh,
they're
yeah.
so good.
All right. Moving on. What's happening?
It's time for news.
Well, we won't be long in the news because there's not a lot of news to get to this week.
Oh, good
Just
grief.
kidding.
Yeah.
The assassination attempt, obviously, we're going to talk with Kent Roby coming up just about the insides of that and all the workings of that whole situation. I got a million questions. I hope you are prepared, Trent.
Well, I'll let you ask them all.
I'm sure you got some.
That's fine. Oh, it's good.
Anyway, we'll have him coming up at 5:30, so mark your calendar there.
Where were you when you found out, by the way?
I was sitting in front of the TV. We had just gotten back from the theater.
Yeah.
And I sat down, I turned it on, and I don't know why, but the hotel TV was on MSNBC.
Mhm.
Yeah, and they were just now trying to figure out what was going on. And so I scrambled to try to find Fox and flipped it over, and then it went on from there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was crazy. The convention so far,
Mhm.
we've talked a little bit about. It's been phenomenal.
Yes.
And how badass to literally divine intervention takes place. Your ear gets grazed by a bullet that should have killed you,
Mhm.
and you're playing golf the next day.
Yeah.
and then coming to the convention. I would venture to say, and I'm saying this, if it had happened, the Democrats would have canceled their convention. There wouldn't have been a convention
Yeah.
if that had happened on the Democrat side.
Yeah.
It was amazing that everything has just gone, you know what? It happened. The Republicans have just pushed forward.
He's such a he knows, because he's a leader. He just knows what leadership looks like.
Yeah.
And he knows that you cannot back down.
Yeah.
And it's in his blood, literally.
It's been, I have been impressed with everything so far that I've seen. I love the format that they've got. The speeches, they not letting them drag on and on and on.
Yeah.
Dude, little Marco was phenomenal last
Yeah.
night.
Yeah.
And he was I think he ended the speeches, right? He was the last one
He
out.
was the last main guy.
Yeah, all of them.
Well, before Laura.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Laura was good.
Oh,
Man,
man.
she been lifting or what?
I,
She did that one time, and I was like, oh,
so I watched those things, and I've been watching RNC since I was 16 years old, and I just love those things. And the speeches are my favorite part. I'll say, even the people that put it together, like, interestingly to me, I mentioned before that they changed the primetime hour to let regular people talk. The primetime hour is when your bigwigs are supposed to hit.
Yes.
Well, the other thing you're supposed to do is you're supposed to do in chronological order of who got out of the race.
Oh,
So DeSantis should not have been after Haley.
Right.
She should have been last because she's the last one that was in the race. So, but they didn't do that.
Mm-mm.
But man, what a way they did that, because Vivek, oh man, he had the crowd going sky high.
Yes.
Now she came in and she was gracious in what she had to say. And
Sure.
have you seen that Trump said that she was the one that asked to come? He isn't the one that she lied about.
I
That.
didn't know that.
If you read his lips, he goes, I didn't tell her to do that. She wanted it up there. He
Okay.
says that up on the stands. Anyway, but her tone brought it down.
Yeah.
But it was great. And then DeSantis picked it right back up.
Yes.
Right. He picked the energy up. You couldn't have done a Vivek DeSantis than Haley,
No.
because you can't follow that.
Correct.
Oh man, it was so good. The only
And I looked at Sarah Huckabee Sanders, and I
Yes.
thought, man, that speech is great. I felt bad for Ben Carson, but damn, he knocked it out of the park.
yeah, I thought by the end of Ben's, I'm glad he's not our VP.
You've always had.
He's just a nice guy,
He is
very
nice.
intelligent.
You've always had
but he's not a leader in my opinion. He's just really smart.
He is.
Yeah. And he's I mean, he's religious, he's compassionate. I get it. But man, after he was done, I was like, hey, good speech. But I will say this too. I thought the hardest follow-up from a speech, unless you were coming behind Vivek, was the black lady that lost her son.
Oh, she was phenomenal.
The way she hit Alvin Bragg.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know she might have been
Mhm.
reading from a teleprompter. It didn't feel like it.
No, she should be one of our candidates.
Yes. Oh God.
Honestly, she should be fighting for New Yorkers.
Yeah.
Because that woman had it.
Yeah. And then Huckabee followed, and she says, that's a hard one to follow right there. And then she knocked it out. of the
She
park.
did.
Oh man,
She
that
was
really
so good, man.
Yep.
Take Biden to work day. That was the best.
Oh, that line was great. I
Oh.
laughed out loud.
Well, hopefully, do we have some of those coming up in hour number 2?
I do have.
Oh, right.
Actually, I don't. I have the end of the show. I
Oh, we
have
got Vivek.
Vivek's because I saw so many channels did not show him.
Okay.
I don't know why they do that.
Any negatives with the that you've seen that you would say, you know what, I haven't. This is not.
No, I tell you,
I
man,
really haven't either.
Yeah, I mean they've done music in between,
Yeah.
because I'm watching the live version,
Yeah.
and the music hasn't been great, but you almost need to have something in between just to give a little bit of a pause.
So I'm interested because I asked Ashley. I was like, I was asked when I was on town council by multiple people to be a delegate, and I really don't. I'm just going to be honest with you. I really don't know what that entails,
Mhm.
and I don't even know how that happens. But man, it would be cool to go to one of those.
Oh, that would be
things.
great. Yeah.
But I don't know, and maybe I'll find out. And maybe that's something I'll do in the future if it.
You asked if there were any drawbacks that I've seen so far. I texted so many people. God, I love my friends, and you texted me during the debate and then the one-liners and all that stuff. I love it. The only thing I do not like is the delegates. The people that are in the crowd
Yeah.
are old white women,
Yeah.
and the channels in MSNBC.
That's all they focus on.
So when a black person is up there, and they did it bang, bang, bang. One was Robinson, one was Wesley Hunt, and one was this guy from Michigan that was fantastic.
Yes.
This guy. I can't remember his name right now. But so the live stream, they would show black people in the crowd. ABC,
No.
never.
Cut it out.
It's always the
Oh yeah.
wacko old woman that has a cowboy hat on.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're trying so hard to label us that way. And I just wondered, after Trump in 10 years, what's that crowd going to look like?
Yeah.
He's
No.
changed everything.
Oh, he's changed everything. And that's what you texted, another great speech or something like that. And I texted back, this is what Donald Trump has brought us.
Yeah.
Dude, do you remember how stale we were in the mid 2000s?
Yeah. Well, you mentioned before, like Gates coming up to McCarthy. last
Yeah.
night. Did you see what he told McCarthy?
Yeah. They'll boo you off stage.
Yeah, you're not welcome here. You're not welcome
Dude,
here. Right. And on the way here, Charlie Kirk just said, here's the people I'm going to rattle off that are not welcome here, because he was talking about the subject to Kevin McCarthy.
Mhm.
He said,
Paul Ryan,
Paul Ryan. He said,
Mitt Romney.
Mitt Romney. And then he even said, I hate to say it, George W. Bush. He said, they're not, well, this is not their party anymore.
No.
He's taken over.
And that is what they've tried to stop.
Yeah.
But dude, I'm excited about it.
Yeah. So-
All right. Speaking of negative, we'll get over to 80 million.
Life, liberty, happiness. 80 million, my ass.
Come on, man.
With Brian Schley.
We choose truth over facts.
All right. Got a little clip of there is another candidate in this race, by the way. Sleepy Joe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Joe is still out there just spinning like crazy.
Scratching and clawing to keep power.
He's trying. But even somebody even said last night, as many interviews as he's tried to do, he still looks bad on those.
He's awful.
It's terrible.
Even when they try to make it look like, see how
Yeah.
much stronger he is. Just listen to what he said.
Somebody even said, man, you made Lester Holt seem like he was pissed off.
Yeah.
And he doesn't get mad at all.
Yeah.
All right. This is Joe Biden cut 2.
We got more to do. And, Donald Trump, I think, is, I said from the beginning when I ran in 2020 that he's a real danger to the country, to a democracy. But I didn't plan on running because when in 2020, when Barack asked me to be vice president, I joined him, which is a great honor. And but after that, I became a professor at the University of Pennsylvania.
What the hell is he talking about?
He's gone. And
He's lost all his faculties.
for them to act like they're surprised,
Yeah.
everybody.
Even the guy that was interviewing him for this,
Yeah.
he put his head down when he said in 2020, I ran as Barack Obama's vice president.
Yeah.
The guy just put his head down like, dude, I can't help you.
Well, what irritates me more is if Donald Trump was in front of Leslie Stahl and he says something factual, she still says, oh, come on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Right.
she challenges him.
Yeah. No.
Lester Holt, I mean, okay, his demeanor is a nice guy, right?
Yes.
However, when Biden tells you, why aren't you going after the 24 or 28 lies that he
Yeah.
said at the debate?
Right.
Well, then follow it up. Okay, sir, which one did he lie on? But then he says, this is a man who says he's going to be a dictator on day one, and there's going to be a bloodbath. Both of those stories, Lester Holt knows is false.
False.
Okay, the bloodbath was about economics. It's going to be cars
Yep.
in Mexico. It's going to be a bloodbath if I don't win. It wasn't January 6th bullshit.
No, I know.
And then the other one was being a dictator for on day one. He told Hannity, when Hannity said, sir, are you going to be a dictator? Like a joke. And he goes, no, I'm not going to be a dictator. I'll be a dictator on day one to build a wall.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's so stupid.
You're lying.
They're just,
And they let him lie.
yeah. All right. Our next segment will be with our special guest, Kent Roby. Right now, State Farm is our sponsor. Thank you to State Farm for a long-time sponsorship. When we come back, we'll have our special guest. When you want reliable insurance, you should look at your local State Farm agent. That agent is David Honaker. He has been a longtime supporter of Life, Liberty, Happiness, and my agent. Home, auto, and even life insurance. He can take care of your needs. Nobody likes having to pay for something you may never use, but when you do need it, you want to make sure you have somebody who can deliver. That is David Honaker and State Farm. Their friendly staff have over 50 plus years of combined experience. Call him today at 540-586-8194 or stop by their office next to Arby's off 460. Like a good neighbor, David is there. All right, we'd like to welcome our special guest today, Kent Roby. Kent is head of emergency management services for Bedford County. Welcome to the program, Kent.
Thank you, Brian.
I'm excited about having you on, not for the reasons
Yeah.
of it for, but you were the first person I thought of. I was coming back from the beach and I was like, oh man, I need to talk to Ken about this because everybody's got all these questions. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want to hear Jesse Waters tell me about, something. I want to hear from people that know. So I'm so excited that you're here. Let's dabble into it a little bit. Your background, you have worked on from different aspects, where there details with Secret Service, right?
Right.
Give me a little bit of background of what you've done in the past, and then we'll dive into some questions.
Well, it was to start. It was 2001, June 2001.
Yes.
We did. I was a lieutenant then with the sheriff's office, and I was in charge of all field operations and tactical stuff, and planning special events. So I was put in charge of President Bush's visit to D-Day, and our work began they're still building D-Day back then.
Mm-hmm.
And our work began probably 8 months out.
Oh, wow.
And that's where I developed a friendship. And I won't mention his name because he's still in the mix with the Secret Service.
Sure.
But him and I became very close friends for 8 months, in and out. Every time something changed up there, we were up there. And we were mainly concerned about, the placement of, I had 125 law enforcement assigned to me, from the state police to the sheriff's office, town police. Actually, back then, the game commission were a great help, and they still are today. But we used every tool in the toolbox that we could. And like I said, I started with the rack in Roanoke, and we started pre-planning until the advance team gets there 2 or 3 weeks before the visit.
Mm-hmm.
Developed some friendships on that as well. So I basically had to draw up the plan for all the locals. And what disturbed me the most when I got that call from my buddy in DC, who is a Secret Service agent,
Yeah.
He was on CAT. He had been on Trump's detail while he was president. He said, "Hey man, you watching the news?" And I was, "No."
Mm.
And I turned it on. I was like, within 2 minutes, I told him on that phone, I said, why didn't they cover that high ground? That was a big deal here in Bedford. And I'll
Right.
say that because they had me put an officer at the fire tower over there on
Good Lord.
Reservoir.
Yeah.
You know how far away that
Oh,
is from
yeah.
D-Day.
Yeah.
Because I'd taken agents up there, the rack and myself had went up there as well. And you could have taken a shot to the Overlord if you were that good.
Mm-hmm.
So they made me, that was the furthest out high ground that we had to put. And we literally went around that whole place. And even if it was a question, if it was high ground, we put an officer there. There wasn't none of this, well, let's stick them in the building.
Mhm.
No, we put them higher, as high as we could.
Mhm.
So, and I can remember there was some construction trailers there. We even put them on there.
So for our audience, a lot of these people may not know. So what's great about your position with Bedford County with Emergency Management Services, a lot of people always ask questions. Well, there was a miscommunication here or the miscommunication there. That's what I like about Bedford County being sort of proactive, because all localities don't have this, right?
No, I was very just, both of my buddy and I were just dumbfounded that you have all these briefings and you're told exactly what to do. And I still don't understand. It's still an investigation. I got it.
Yeah.
Because I've heard about the ladder. I've heard about climbing on the air condition. I've heard about the TAC teams. The TAC team assigned to that building was inside the building. I find that hard to believe.
I do
I'm
too.
not saying it didn't happen.
Right.
And I'm not saying, because we did have some personnel in the construction trailers, but they were due to respond to the crowd. And it was just outside of where everybody sits at D-Day.
Mhm.
But we still had people on the high ground.
Sure. Yeah.
And the other thing that the agent told me was they had cut his staff. I don't care about the
Yes,
Iranian.
it had to be.
He didn't have the protection that he had early on. And I know during President Bush's visit, we had three counter sniper teams.
Mhm.
And they were placed in the very best positions to not only cover the motorcade coming up that hill, but to cover anything within the crowd. And then the state police TAC team and my TAC team covered everything else.
Mhm.
And we knew our field of fire, so to say. We were responsible for certain areas. So with that said, I think it was only 2 sniper teams that I've heard of that was on
Correct.
that site.
Yeah.
That's not enough for a crowd that big.
Yeah, exactly.
And I realized that was a rural type environment. But man, come on. You only had a couple buildings, and this slope excuse
Yeah.
is
I don't understand.
unbelievable.
We're going to get into that in
Oh.
a minute. But I want to understand. So you have, for Bedford County, you're the point man when all these different agencies are together, right? You have to make sure that they're all talking the same language. Is that?
I'm in on these briefings. It might be that like this past D-Day.
Yes.
Give you an example.
With Governor Youngkin being here.
Yeah. So, and even with Pence, that is the town's jurisdiction,
Okay.
and that's the way it should be. Back in the day, no one would wanted that responsibility
Sure.
of planning that. So I stepped up and said, "I'll take it.
Yeah.
We'll do it," knowing that I still had to work with the chief, and it's
Right.
his jurisdiction, and I still gave him an opportunity to put his men where he wanted to put them. This last D-Day, or Shannon Walker, we both worked together, and it was his deal. I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. He'd already done the Pence visit. We looked at it.
Yep.
We were preparing for a Secret Service event. Thank God it didn't happen, because it's a strain.
Sure.
It's a lot of work, and it's a lot of manpower that goes into it, and you have to do it their way.
Sure.
They have the call. It's not
Okay.
like, the sheriff can go, well, I'm going to put my guys on over here.
Right.
Everything on my plan when Bush was here had to be approved not only by the RAC and Roanoke, but the advanced team supervisor.
Now, what's the rack in Roanoke? Just for layman people.
It's a regional, it's a smaller Secret Service office.
Okay.
They only have like 3 or 4 guys, and they might have more today, but back then it was only 3, I think.
All right.
And they work their cases.
Okay.
And normally it's counterfeit, and then they assist the locals. And
So in Pennsylvania, they know this visit's happening, right? And so you had local law enforcement, and now you have Secret Service. But everything is Secret Service the point on this.
absolutely,
It's their plan. It's their
absolutely.
okay.
They got
So that's where the failures happened. So because I've heard Secret Service blame local, and I'm like, all right, somebody has to be at the top.
the thing is, the Secret Service might have told the locals that's your building.
Right.
And just like my visit, they can't cover everything.
Sure.
So I supplemented what they needed covered.
Mhm.
And I didn't deviate off that plan. If they told me I needed, at the time I had 13 dog teams, because it was very heavily wooded up there.
Mm-hmm.
And I had showed them where I'm putting these dogs,
Mm-hmm.
and they were out of sight, but they were in the way that they could protect that layer of protection. We had layers of protection. You had to get through this to get to that, to get to this. And there's a point you shouldn't have got to if you had all these layers. But ultimately, you can't go off in left field, sheriff or chief, and say, you know what, it's hot. You guys just stay in here.
Right. No.
I just, it's hard to comprehend why at least somebody wasn't perched on top of that building, or they didn't have a sniper team covering that building and watching it.
All right. So for your many years of service that you had in DC, is the incompetency at the top level, and I don't even know her name, the director, but just in the interviews that I've seen twice, I can't. Is it DEI? What is driving the incompetency at that level? You've got to have the. I think we all can agree the people that are protecting the president are phenomenal people.
Absolutely.
But somewhere something is going wrong for this to be able to happen like this.
I would just tell you what I was told. This is not necessarily my belief, but it is happening, and I watched it happen in the agency I just came from. When a director or assistant director walks in and says, I want 30% of my force being females.
Yes.
And this is not
Correct.
nothing. She said it.
Yes.
She absolutely said it.
Absolutely. Yes.
That's discriminatory to every
Yes.
race, gender.
You've worked hard to
whatever.
get there. Yes.
And it's like the agent told me. I didn't even know that until he told me, and I got to digging, and she did say it.
Sure.
And he told me, he was like, look, I said, so we had the problem in my old agency of doing the same thing, but once we got certain females on the range, they couldn't shoot.
Yes.
They couldn't do certain things.
Sure.
And I'll quote him in saying, this is not, you can't put the JV team up there
Yes.
for this.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I mean, President Bush shouldn't have got the B or C team.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying he did, but what I'm saying is you can't make statements like that and drop the standards. We didn't. I'll be honest with you. We didn't. We put those females through extra training,
Sure.
and we got them there.
Yeah.
But we didn't push them through to push them through just because of their gender or color of their skin. It's
That's
just
right.
not. So to me, that's what is has hampered, you know, the protectees are they getting the A team?
Yeah,
And I'm not saying a certain president should be A team, another one should be, they all should be A team.
that's right. Yeah.
It's the point and the goal of the task, right? I mean,
Yes.
it's because if it
No,
fails, the worst scenario could happen.
I think that's the thing. We say it all the time. I'm surprised it doesn't happen more often. And it is a credit to just how phenomenal these agencies are because they get it right 99.9% of the time, right?
do.
But when this happened the other night, it was such gross negligence at the point where even I, who is nowhere near the know that you're in, something is wrong. It's
Yeah.
all wrong. I mean, I keep seeing videos of them trying to bust through a fence,
Yeah.
and I'm like, how is that not already?
Yeah.
I got a general question. So what you just described, and it sounds like a Herculean effort, right? So you had an event and you've got all that organization and it was 8 months before, and then 2 weeks before other guys show up. That's a coordinated event. And when you think about the big picture of things, that was your one event.
Yes.
Trump did that one event, but he had just done something the Thursday
Right.
before, and then he did something the Tuesday. They're doing that every single day. Do they put that much effort in every single one of those? And could they have just gotten relaxed because they do it so much?
I-
No. and,
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
No,
Is it that intense? I mean, that's impressive. But
Yeah, when you do, most of those are like they're. If you've done a bunch of them,
Mhm.
they're all ran the same.
Mhm.
Okay, guys, here's what we got to do.
Yeah.
High ground, got this. Close off that. This person's not, get the mags up. It's basically, the same thing
Mhm.
at every event. It's not like it depends on the amount you're expecting. We were planning for 10,000 to 15,000 at D-Day.
Mhm.
It's always a play, and I've heard 30 at this
yeah.
30,000.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes these places surprise them,
Sure.
but they try to plan for the worst and hope,
Yeah.
that it's covered. I think and I've worked with these guys, the CAT team guys are all jacked up. Those are the guys that came in, they did what they were supposed to do
Yes.
with the high powered rifles and cover the crowd. It is very intense for them. I mean, their job is for that man or woman to never catch a bullet. And that's not like your normal law enforcement where they're focused on, okay, this is our building. And this is all we got to worry about. They're all jacked up.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's that intense every day. Every time they go somewhere, it's that kind of effort. It goes.
yeah, I would
into
say
every single
yeah.
one.
I mean, the guy who was in charge, who was working with me at D-Day, he even told me, he goes, Kent, this is a great plan and you've worked very hard on it. Do not get your feelings hurt when they walk in here and trash it.
Mm.
There's a really good chance, and 80% of the time they trash it.
Yeah.
And the only thing they did do is they moved our TAC teams out from underneath that shower, that restroom area behind where
Mhm.
President Bush was, and they put their CAT team guys in there.
Mm.
I didn't get hurt feelings over that. We moved with the state team down to the elementary school to cover the protesters and the motorcade coming up. And then my TAC team was over in one of the construction trailers off to the side. And we were to respond to a certain area.
Yeah.
And these type of things, you do what you're told.
Mhm.
You don't go out and left field. And that's one thing I reiterated to the 125 officers working.
Yeah.
And it all went well. But I don't know what happened there.
There's
I
so many
hope that-
layers. Like,
Yes.
it's just the roof is one thing. If that was the only thing, it's not. It's so many. They encountered him 30 minutes.
I was going to
prior?
say that when we had two that we encountered at D-Day. One tried to get into the lower side there to the right of D-Day through the wooded area. And one actually got off the bus, and he was acting strange on the bus. That was communicated. Our team called him between the bus and the mags, and he was not allowed to come in. If we even had a suspicion or you were acting, you're not coming in, period.
Yeah, period.
You're not coming in, and we're going to take you. We took that guy to the PD and held him until the event was over with. because we didn't know where to take him or what to do with him. He wasn't from around here, and we won't turn him loose back, even though we had these layers. That's another failure that I don't understand.
That's
why-
what I'm saying. There's so many.
Yeah.
We've all seen the video that it seems like the people that seem to be more worried about a guy on a roof are Trump supporters, and you can hear them telling cops how kind of a relay would it be, even if it was a local cop, because I don't know who it was that got told that. How long does it take from that person to know anything that was just said to the snipers or someone else to know that, hey, we got something going on, don't let this man speak?
Yeah. How does the communication happen between, you've got state police, you've got Secret Service, you've got police? How does all of that work at this event, at these events?
So I could talk to everybody. And that's something that we started a while back, and D-Day does it as of today. Everybody can talk to everybody. That's one thing. Now, Secret Service shows up, and we fix their radios so they can at least listen in. And just like the one walking up, getting off the bus, we knew within as soon as somebody reported it to us, it wasn't like he was on the roof. They just got off the bus and said, hey, this guy's acting weird.
Mm-hmm.
It was communicated within a minute. Somebody was on him. So I hate to say there's a delay. I can only imagine what those counter sniper guys are going through, because back during the day when we worked with them, because they came in early too. They came in 3 or 4 days early. And I can remember we actually had to put their weapons in an armory, and we took all of our keys away, and so they could lock it up overnight. And we couldn't get in there because they didn't want anybody tampering with those weapons, because they were already zeroed in that morning. We took them to a range and zeroed them in. They didn't want but those guys, I asked them at one point, I said, so when do you have to ask permission to take a shot?
Yeah.
Now, it's my understanding that they'd had to. I don't know if that, I'm waiting to see the fallout on that or see how that goes. But those guys said no. As soon as a threat pops up, and we can identify it not being a police officer, engaging somebody else, which could happen, another sniper team engaging it, and then they, so no, they would took him out immediately.
So that discussion about a stand down, you would think, because of the rumor, and here's another problem I have, at least once you let so much time happen and rumors start, you've made it worse. For them to not have come out and said there was no stand down, and then the thing that was leaked to make it sound like there was a stand down rule, like don't shoot, that should not allow to be continued on. I mean,
it's going to come out.
Yeah.
I heard 80 seconds between the time the officer engaged him up there and the first shot.
Yeah.
I'm keep hearing this 80 seconds had transpired. Somewhere in there, somebody should have made a decision. That's a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, we got a guy on the roof with a rifle.
Yeah.
And they're just waiting for him to pop.
Yeah, but that's the thing. If you hear that alone,
yeah.
why isn't Trump off the stage then?
No, that too.
Yeah.
Why are we even taking a chance? I mean,
That too.
there's so many things that
but
I'm like you, when you're not, like, she's done this interview and all she did was make it worse.
Oh, I know.
I mean, saying that someone couldn't get up there because of a slope. Even the dumbest people know that that's not true.
No, they're trained to be on slopes, upside down, hanging from whatever. I mean, the guys I had up here, you know how slopey it is up there.
Yeah.
I mean, the first team coming up the hill there, they're on that slope that's coming back down to elementary school.
Yeah.
You've got to operate in all those positions. I can't figure out why she said that.
I can't figure out a lot of things.
And even if you said you weren't going to have someone on the roof, you can't have someone stand around the building.
Right.
You can't have multiple people stand around a building that you decided you couldn't get up on the roof of. I don't understand.
Everybody should know, like with our visit, everybody knew their responsibilities. There is no question, no doubt. If I put you, Brian, on watching the elementary school, that front door, that's what you do.
Yes.
That is your responsibility.
Yeah, there's no pee breaks. There's no, you're not leaving your post.
No.
What does your dad say to me hunting all the time? You don't leave your post.
So the cop, and these are rumors here, so I don't know what and you guys may have known more about the story than I do, but the guy that heard about it, so he went up and may have saved Trump's life because he made him point, and the guy
And
became
hurried,
rushed.
maybe. I don't
Yeah.
know.
So a cop can climb a roof
Yeah.
and then see him and then come back down or fall down,
Yeah.
but he doesn't have anybody else with him. I don't that part I don't understand either.
Well, and I think I heard today that there was actually another officer that was helping him up there. Why didn't you just, if he had a ladder, I've heard a ladder, I've heard air conditioning, why didn't you just use his ladder?
Yeah.
You know, that the first thing I thought when I heard that, when I heard the officer saw him and engaged, was Evaldi.
That's what I thought of
I
too.
mean, I was like,
Yes.
do we have to go through this again?
Yeah.
These police
See, I
officers
thought
are
the
taught to
opposite.
engage.
'Cause
No.
I thought he was just trying to duck for cover until he could.
Get his weapon out.
Yeah, but
No,
because
I thought of
I thought he
too.
fell.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if
No,
to
I
me-
know.
To me, I would hope if somebody saw anybody with a gun up there, they would be up on the roof no matter what.
Oh, I think it's an engaged. Police don't move. Police drop your weapon, and then the next
Yeah.
thing, if he doesn't, is a noggin shot.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's
Yeah,
just like
exactly.
No, I agree.
I don't. This thing of us waiting anymore or negotiating, and when he's standing, I mean, you know, they had the shooting outside of the Republican convention. It's obvious when you
Yeah.
see the video. The guy was lunging at the other guy with a
Yeah.
knife. Yes,
Yeah.
that's absolutely. You're going to get shot
Shot,
after the
yeah.
police officers are screaming, "Drop it!"
Yeah.
You know, so good for them. You engage, and you know, I'm sorry. You
Yeah.
don't listen. This is what happens. It's not
Mm.
abuse or anything. I would like to go back to one thing.
Sure.
So when she talks about the 30% females, I'll tell you a little story. Not a lot of people know, but when we first took office with Mike Brown at the sheriff's office, there were no females, none. And I was the first one to step up and said, you know, Sheriff, we've got to go find at least 5 qualified females and put one on each shift. We have female problems. They're going to run into female problems. I don't want the male officers
yeah.
getting in trouble.
Exactly.
So it took me about a year, but I will tell you this. I didn't lower any standards. They had to do the same thing. They had to shoot the same scores.
Yeah.
And we fought through it. And, you know, all 5 of those females, there's one still there and 2 of them retired and one's working for another agency. So they're still in the ball game
Yeah.
where they played it out.
Yeah.
Those were 5 really good, solid females. And you can do it if you just work with them. You don't have to lower their standards. And at a
Mhm.
certain point, if they can't do it, you have to have that talk with them.
Exactly.
And I've had that talk with the federal female agents.
Yeah.
We've done everything we can.
Well, I so appreciate you coming in today, and you've cleared up some things that I questions that I had, and I'm so grateful that you were able to come in. But before you leave, I want to touch on something that I'm just curious about. How does Bedford County in the Bedford area, what's the connection there? Because we seem to have people like yourself that end up in DC somehow, or I mean, just recent. The name is the one that's on Governor Youngkin's detail.
Oh, Sonny.
Yeah, Sonny.
Oh,
That
was,
was yeah. Is there a connection that?
It's just I don't know if it's a path that God has put you on. I'm gonna bring that up because
Sure.
I had no intentions when I went in with Mike Brown of ever leaving.
Right.
He was grooming me to be sheriff, and when I was involved in 9/11, and my buddy from the Secret Service, a bunch of them that I met at D-Day during that visit had moved over to Homeland Security. They started the recruiting process, and that's how I got the call. Hey, we need somebody with your experience to come to DC and play that supervisor's role because we're not getting the experience we want.
Mhm.
And, you know, and I had a long talk with Mike Brown about it. And, you know, he came from the feds. So
Okay.
he was retired ATF, and he said, hey, look, this is an opportunity you'll never get ever again. And they waived my age. You have to be 37 going to the academy. I was 38.
Okay.
There's a lot of things that they waived for a bunch of us, not only me,
Yeah.
just to get what they wanted in there. And it's just one of those things where it kind of fell in my lap, but I also had the support of my boss,
Mhm.
and which sometimes that doesn't happen. It's like, you know what, really, what does it take to keep you here? It's usually what you hear. And I didn't hear that from him. He's like, go get your federal experience. It's a great opportunity. And it ended up being a great opportunity.
Did you enjoy your time with the federal?
Now, it's a when you're working with retired Secret Service guys, they have their way. So you had to learn their way. And that was a little bit of a tough road at first. But after I pulled my 2 years of so-called, on the street and working the grunt side of it, I was offered an opportunity to go to the Joint Terrorism Task Force in Richmond and work there for 3 years and work terrorism for 89 jurisdictions in Virginia. And I thoroughly, even though it was going back on the street and working cases, I thoroughly enjoyed. And I think we've talked about this before. I was assigned to the FBI, and that's a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. But I will tell you this: that working at that level, those people aren't like that. These are
Well, that was my question. Is the politics at the top level?
yes,
Everybody else just works
Yes.
hard like normal.
yes, especially if
Okay.
you had a political appointee like at that time the Homeland Security secretary was a political appointee. The TSA director was a political appointee, and they're either attorneys or they're somebody's buddy.
Oh,
They've never
wow.
done the work, so it's just it's frustrating. And then they bring their cronies in, and then it just starts. It makes it so frustrating. With I still talk to my old FBI boss. They're retired on the beach down there, and one was a assistant director to Comey, and he couldn't stand the guy when he worked for him because he was an attorney versus an FBI guy that's worked his way through the ranks. And it's sad when you're sitting there scratching your head about all these FISA courts and everything. And I've been involved in FISA courts. I've been involved in wiretapping, and the stuff I had to go through to get that is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, it's and they're on you every week, making sure that you're not violating somebody's rights.
Mhm.
And that's when I first heard about all those violations of FISA, I was like, how does this happen? It doesn't happen at that grunt level, at that,
Yeah.
the first line supervisor level.
Political level.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Again, thank you so much for
Oh,
coming
man, it's
in.
great.
Appreciate it. And
Yeah.
I'm so glad that Bedford County has that resource in you. So
thank you.
appreciate it
you
again.
for that.
Hope to have you back on the program
Yeah.
for better circumstances.
Or
Oh,
even,
no.
how about when we find out more about what went on and
You
have you
can.
back? And
Oh
your
yeah, love to have you
analysis
back
of it.
to have
And
that
if you want to talk
analysis.
about emergency management, this is the first
Yes.
time that they've taken this out of the fire department and actually made it a standalone, which needed to be done as
Yep.
a full-time position.
Yeah.
And I've been drinking from a fire hose since last June.
Okay.
It's one of those things. It's every day just trying to catch up with
Sure.
what's supposed to be done. So,
Perfect.
but absolutely.
All right.
Excellent.
Thank you again.
Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
That's hour number 1. We will see you on the backside, hour number 2.
And now for all you paying subscribers, Life, Liberty, Happiness presents our number 2. Hey, we're getting overtime for this, right?
Oh man, we could have went on for another hour.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, that was awesome. We appreciate Kent Roby for coming in and speaking about that. And I can't, like you said, we should have him back on to kind of as this thing starts to trickle down and maybe we get answers. I have zero confidence that we'll get any answers whatsoever.
It just bothers me that, like, I love Vivek, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he had the word truth.
Yeah,
we're smart
give us
enough.
truth.
Just tell us what it is. Just stop making it sound like we can't know.
And if you fail, you fail.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
I can swallow that.
Right. Yeah. Somebody needs to be fired. Nobody gets fired.
Right. If you, like you brought up the point, this isn't his only event.
Yeah.
There's another event and another event and another event. And if you just said, look, we were up on a schedule, we're down agents. We don't we're trying our best. This should have never happened.
Yeah.
We're going to find out how and why it happened. And we're going to give you details every step of the way. None of that happened.
Dude, we're finding out that that their setup was in the building. Like where they originated from was inside that same building. That's
what I don't understand. I mean, when we were up at D-Day and Woody filmed it all, I mean, Kent and they had a command center and it's like they not only were they knew the weather. And I remember because we had a officer beside us where our location was. And he said, hey, we've got weather coming in. Just letting y'all know we're going to be moving things along here quickly. Yeah. So I kind of knew what was going on there. And I did. I left early. And as soon as I got in my truck, it started pouring down rain. I was like, ooh, thank God I got that heads up.
It's not like they're going to say anything that we don't already know. I mean, It's not going to be like, well, we can't say because we would let out our means and methods. Listen, we all know that that's what they do.
I'm going to tell a quick story that I hope won't get me in trouble.
Yeah. Well, I hope it does. Tell it.
When I was at Wiley and Wilson, I did the security clearance, right? And one of the things you had to go through was training. And 2 FBI agents come down and do your training. Well, the first thing they tell you in training for classified information is, if it ain't got anything to do with your job, don't ask and don't even get near any other information. Just stay away from it. You don't need to know. Well, then we spend the next hour watching a video of things I don't need to know.
Yeah.
Being taught by 2 FBI agents. And they're showing us, they're going over how important all of this stuff is, right? And they went over every detail of how a president is protected. I don't need to know this. And they tell you how important the information is. You can never let it out of your sight, right? Though we finish our training, those guys leave, and I get a phone. My cubicle was beside Driscoll's cubicle, and I get a phone call from Ashwell, and he says, y'all won't believe this. The 2 FBI agents are on the way back. They left the tape in the VCR. the tape that explains everything. And I'm like, oh my God. And I mean, it's one of those things where, why are you showing me?
Yeah.
But it is very impressive. He's right. This stuff doesn't happen. That is what they said. It takes weeks and months to plan a visit.
Yeah.
And the guy even said, imagine there may be 4 visits a day. So that's how many agents we have to have.
Anybody that's ever hunted would know that every time you go to hunt, how far do we shoot? Just a personal rifle, not an AK, not whatever. It's 100 yards.
You're starting at 100. Yeah.
Right.
And then once you go further, you're like, ooh.
Yeah, you got anything like it. But 600 yards is not, I've seen a deer killed at 600 yards, right?
Right.
Joe Corbett is incredible. Now, you should at least, I mean, there shouldn't be a building that's within 600, should be 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be, like when he mentioned the fire tower.
Yeah.
That was so impressive that they had to have somebody up that high. How you wouldn't have somebody, and then like the water tower, there's a water tower nearby.
Nobody,
there's no one in there.
Yeah.
There's a There's a congressman from Texas that I saw on a news program that said, we need to investigate to find out if this was done on purpose. And the anchor lady kept cutting him off. And she said, you can't say that. There's
Why?
no way I'm going to let you say that. And he goes, if it's an investigation, you go as far as you have to investigate.
Absolutely.
Right. So
Yes.
why wouldn't you say that?
How?
And guess what the other side is saying right now? Literally, I've seen it twice today, that it wasn't a real bullet, that he really didn't get hit,
Oh my God.
that he literally faked the blood. So that's what I'm saying. You're getting all kinds of people now
Yeah.
coming and saying these things.
Again, you can clear it all up.
Yeah.
You bring them all into Congress on Monday and let's start. Have it right in front of everybody.
Yeah, you could have done it the next day. You could
Of
have had somebody
course.
there and said everything that they did. Or
But,
did.
I guess, do they not do it because of fear of lawsuits? But I mean, you're getting lawsuits now anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
The
In
people
fact, it's
dying.
going to get worse because you haven't.
Correct.
I
It's just, yes, the ineptness, if
Yeah.
that's the right word,
Yeah.
is it's sickening. It makes you wonder, like I said, if you want to point out the failures of Joe Biden, start there.
yeah,
Why is she still in command?
right.
Joe, she's still in command of you.
Even louder is you lying SOB faker that you waited till Trump got shot before you would give Kennedy any kind of.
Oh,
So-
God. How long have we been talking about
You're a
Kennedy?
liar.
Yes.
Yes. You're only doing it now because of the politics of it. How are
Correct.
you not smart enough that we're smart enough to know the guy's
Right.
last name?
Right. I guess what I'm
Ugh.
saying is as a president, you have failed so badly that the person who's in charge of keeping you safe failed and you still have not fired that person.
Yeah, exactly.
She's still in charge of you being safe.
Might make you think a little bit. And guess who she grew up trying to protect? How she moved up. Do you know who the first person was? She was hired to protect because she came through the Secret Service.
Who?
Dick Cheney. Are Cheney's big fans of the Trumps?
Exactly. No. And
So
how
you
is
have allowed that to manifest? Somebody's going to start asking that question.
well, somebody asked me the question today, and I thought it was very interesting. We'll get to our top 10 here quickly.
Yeah.
But somebody asked me the question, okay, if they wanted this to happen, how do you convince that boy to do it? Right. That was the
Right.
question that was asked to
That's
me.
the hardest part for me to get my arms around.
It was for me until the video comes out of him being in the BlackRock commercial.
Mm.
And then you start to go, why is he
Of all people.
in a BlackRock commercial?
Yeah.
And then when you start to look at, obviously they've got a shady past.
By the way,
He's not in a Bank of America commercial. He's in a BlackRock commercial.
to make it sound like everybody goes, he's a registered Republican.
Stop.
I would like to know if that state that you have to vote in the primary, and if you didn't like Trump,
Yes,
you could go into the primary
It is
vote,
that.
and vote the other guy.
that is that.
So that's why you would do it.
Of course.
Why does nobody ever say that?
Because it's the truth.
Yes, come on, stop this
Yeah.
bullshit. Did you see him screaming if it's him at the Trump table
Yes.
outside of I don't know where they were.
Woody brought up a great point. He doesn't have a Facebook presence. Come on.
Yeah,
20-year-old doesn't have a Facebook presence.
Instant.
instant
Nothing.
presence.
Nothing, y'all.
wouldn't- they
you
wouldn't
couldn't
have
get in his phone. Come on.
Yeah.
Y'all can check my Cash App right now
Yeah,
on who I've paid in Cash App, but you can't break into his phone.
All right. Today's
Okay.
top 10 is
Yeah.
moments we remember. And this is one of those moments. I actually had it as we'll get to that.
Yep.
Anyway, top 10.
And now, your top 10 for the week.
She's more like a 5.
I feel like having a hula skirt on.
I like-
like there's torches.
Dude, I like that, being able to get the latest news. I just got a tweet from Megyn Kelly. Not I, but
Oh,
it's a tweet. And it says Trump campaign responds to vice presidential debate. We don't know who the Democrat nominee for vice president is going to be yet, so we can't commit to a vice presidential debate.
Yeah,
That's a great response.
Vivek had the same thing because they asked him how will JD Vance, since he knew him in college, is going to do against Kamala. And he says, well, let's not assume that that's who he's going to be debating. He
Exactly.
said, but if it is her, he'll mop the floor with her. I thought it was awesome.
All right. Number 10.
Do you know much about JD Vance?
I'm learning.
Yeah, I don't know anything. Like, I haven't been watching Fox because of what they did to Tucker, so I really am not.
Brett Hume, whom I'm a fan, and I know a lot of people aren't. But his response to JD Vance was, I just find it a little, concerning that he would pick someone with no experience.
Mhm.
And immediately, it's amazing what comes to my brain. Immediately, I said, yes, Barack Obama had plenty of experience.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you talking about? Like, if you're going to say something, at least say something substantive.
Yeah.
But to say he chose somebody with no experience, first of all, he had the exact amount of experience as Barack Obama.
Yeah.
And that dude was president, not vice president.
Yeah.
So shut up,
Yeah.
Brett.
Mhm.
You wish you could be on Life, Liberty, Happiness.
I'm a little worried about the potential Romney-ish in my mind. I'm a little worried about that. I mean, you can tell me I'm wrong.
What are you worried about?
Okay, so he once called himself a never Trumper. I know he's explained that. But I hear Vivek say that they used to get in some real squabbles back in the day. I like the stuff that Vivek says. So I don't know if I'm going to like everything that JD Vance says. I'm okay with that. It doesn't matter. I'm still going to vote for him. I'm confident.
Yeah.
But his wife was also on the staff of the Supreme Court. Of all the justices, which justice do you think she was with?
John Roberts.
Exactly. So she wasn't with Scalia. She wasn't with Clarence Thomas. I just worry a little bit. I got my Mitt Romney radar, Paul Ryan, because I've been fooled by the best.
Yeah, that's right.
So just got my worries.
Worried enough that you won't vote for.
Oh, hell no. They could shit on the floor. and I'm-
Dude, I laughed so hard when you sent me the picture of Trump Pence with the P and E.
They just take out the P and the E and add the V and the A. That was awesome.
That's Woody.
That's
That's Woody marketing right there.
We're going to go.
Exit out.
We're gonna
Let's
go
exit
from
out.
Media squatch to media squawk.
That's it.
Hey, that's actually a
There you
nice.
go.
I'm here for you.
That's the name of your new show, Media Squawk.
All right.
All right,
Sorry.
top 10.
Yeah.
All right. I put actually where I was when these things happened.
Yeah.
No, I was at my cousin's house in Lee County, Virginia.
Yep.
Never will forget this. Jamie and I can't remember the brothers. Hank and Jamie, Lee County, Virginia. We were out playing and came inside, and the Princess Di and Charles wedding was going on. And it was on every channel, and everybody was glued to it. And I was a kid, but it was a massive deal, I guess, because Charles was getting married.
I kind of remember that.
Yeah, so I do remember that.
Now, her death being one is kind of one you can sort of put on this list. Do you remember her when she got killed? Princess
Yes.
Diana?
I do, but I couldn't remember where I was.
Yeah.
And so I kept it to,
Yeah.
I got to remember where I was.
Okay.
I was in Fredericksburg at my great uncle's house with my dad and my brother when the Bill Buckner missed ball between the legs happened and the Mets won.
Yeah.
I remember that because I was a massive Mets fan because back then the Mets were here.
Yeah.
In Lynchburg, the Lynchburg Mets. So a lot of those stars were part of that team.
Yeah.
So I actually knew them, which was great. But yeah, I was so scared that they were going to lose. Number 8, mismasked 5th grade. We were watching it live when the Challenger exploded.
Yeah.
I just remember that.
That's on my list too. Obviously, spatial explosion. But how come the other one isn't as big? You know, when the
I don't even
Enterprise,
remember the other one.
when the so Challenger's one exploded, right?
Yes.
Columbia or Enterprise, the one that came back into Earth and it split up over Texas,
Oh yeah.
and all the astronauts died on that one.
Yes, I don't remember that one.
See, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
It went clear across Texas. I mean,
It's crazy.
part of the plane was at one end of Texas, and the other part was at the far other end.
Mm.
Yeah. We forget about that one.
I was leaving Highland County, staying at the river
Mm-hmm.
with my wife and daughter. And at the time, Uncle Perry, I don't think was there. But we stayed at the river that weekend. And so, as you know, being at the river, at that time, there was no TV and no cell phone.
Yeah.
And so we were coming back through Covington and we stopped to get something to eat, and everywhere was closed. And we found this one place. And when we went in, the lady said, after you, we have to close our doors. We're actually not supposed to be open. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Mm.
And they're like, oh, due to COVID, man, everything is locked down. And I had no idea what they were talking about.
Yeah. Ooh.
Because when we left, they were still finding cases. And then all of a sudden, everything is locked down. I'm like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, you're not going to get anywhere open. And I'm like, that was when I found out about the COVID lockdown. It was coming back from Highland.
Yeah.
Made me want to go back to Highland.
Yeah.
Stay away from all this crap. And heck, I now thinking about it, dude, it was a long time before there was a case in Highland. I remember how cases popped up different places.
Yeah.
Jeez. Number 6, I was at my father's girlfriend house. My mom and dad had divorced, and I was at my father's girlfriend's house when the Gulf War broke out.
Mm.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I woke up to the Saudis. Was it the Saudis? No, not the Saudis. The Iraqis putting their hands up. I mean, there were no shots fired, and they were giving up. Remember?
Yeah.
So I was there.
Brad and I were at Martinsville, the races.
Oh, wow. Okay. I was at my buddy's house when we woke up the next morning and saw that Lynn Bias had died.
I thought that was going to be on my list and not on yours. It was on mine too.
Dude, I was devastated.
Me too.
Because I was such a massive ACC fan.
Yeah.
It didn't matter. Mark Price. It didn't matter. I mean, I love Duke, but I mean, maybe it's like that now, but back then.
I didn't even want to go out and play basketball. I remember.
Yeah, Lynn was the deal, man.
He was so good. And I was devastated.
Oh, because it was exciting that he went to the Celtics.
Oh, I hated that too because I hated the Celtics. So you probably had a different thought than I did.
No, I was a Lakers. I liked the Lakers.
Yeah.
I didn't, but I was such a Lynn Bias fan.
Yeah.
I wanted to see him play for the Celtics.
Yeah.
Number 4.
Yeah.
I was at Dustin's house, and you know who Dustin is.
Yep.
My cousin Dustin. We were at his house for the Dale Earnhardt when he lost his life.
Yeah, that was
the
number 2.
Daytona 500.
That was number 2 on my list.
That was eerie.
Yeah.
It was really eerie. Number 3, celebrating the my election win in 2016.
Yeah.
When they announced Donald Trump would be the next president. It was so cool. That was such a cool night, man.
Yeah.
Because I was part of an election. It was the neatest thing, I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, I just got elected.
You helped carry him across.
Yeah, that's Bedford. We got him over the hump. He didn't win Virginia, by the way. It's going to change this time.
Yeah.
Do you believe that?
Man, if we could get Hung Kao, God.
Oh, how cool would that be?
He was so good. Man.
Yeah.
I just hope that guy. God, when you look at that dude, you thought military.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you thought this dude's a badass.
Yeah.
Him against Tim Kaine. I mean, they should just stand next to one another.
Weak. I love it when they say weak because
Yeah.
that is what he is.
He is,
Well, just a
yeah.
weak person. All right. Number 2.
Yeah.
I was in my little apartment off Dearborn Road in Lynchburg when the Bronco chase happened with O.J. Simpson.
Oh, yeah.
I remember that dude. Everybody was glued to the TV.
Yeah.
I was installing HVAC, my number 1.
Yeah.
I was downtown. It was a summer job I picked up with Dustin and my brother, and we were installing HVAC. We all were together on a house downtown Lynchburg. And we had just come out of the crawl space, and the tenant who lived in the house had it on the TV. And he's like, man, they just had a plane or something running, going to the building. And so we're watching it live when the other plane hit.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, that ain't an accident.
Yeah.
And that's when it hit us.
Yeah.
So 9/11, I was working.
Yeah.
And my 1A was I was at the beach watching live when Trump was shot here
Yeah.
recently.
I had that down. I had Trump at 6 only because he lived. Obviously, it would be number 1 through 10, probably, if the worst had happened. I mean, I don't even know if I could have gone out of a depression if that had actually happened. If that would have been successful, I don't know what I would feel like.
Yeah.
Well, months long.
I will say this. I'm tired of people saying he missed. He didn't miss.
Right.
He had the headshot.
Yeah.
If Trump doesn't turn,
Yes.
the kid didn't miss.
Right.
But people say that. Well, the kid missed. No, he didn't.
Yeah. Exactly.
Um,
So in my list, I'll just go.
Mhm.
If we got Carolina Kevin calling today,
I don't know what time. Let me check.
let me know if he is.
Sure.
If he is.
You
But
multitask.
man, I remember being at Wiley Wilson and working when the bomb went off in Oklahoma. Do you remember the building, the bomb? In
McVeigh.
yeah, Bay.
I do, but I don't remember where I was.
Okay, so here's one that I wanted to add to the list that I personally obviously did not witness because it happened. But 50 years later, I'm in Fort Worth, Texas, and I wanted to go see where Kennedy was shot.
You did you get to see it?
Yeah, so I went. So I got
Oh.
on a train and we went out and we saw where it was shot. First off, I was shocked at what it looked like. If it was in Virginia, it would have been a monument, right? It would have been
Yeah.
It's still a traffic light. It's still people running over it. They literally put 2 painted X's on the street of where he was shot. The only thing that's closed down is you can't get up into the
The
7th
book
floor.
suppository.
It's closed. And then there's a museum across the street. It's literally, you have to wait for traffic to go by to walk across the street. That's
Is
how
the knoll there and everything?
the knoll was there. You can see all that. I mean, there's very little that you would even know if you didn't know the history.
Uh.
And I go in there and there is a woman bawling in the museum. She was that struck by, this is 50 years later. She was older than me, much older than I was. But being in the museum, it just made me realize how powerful that day must have
Yeah.
been for many people.
Crazy.
Yeah. Number 8,
Phew.
Rush Limbaugh saying goodbye on the radio.
Mm.
Man, I just, even more so than his death, how shocked, because I listen to him every day. I was not expecting that to come on. I'm not
Yeah.
every day, but every time I was in the car and I was like, man, I was listening. I was devastated by that. Magic Johnson. I was at VMI in my room, just listening to the radio when Magic Johnson announced that he had AIDS.
Mm.
Man, that,
Yeah, because
bothered
you
me.
thought it was, yeah,
and then he's going to die.
yeah, that's right.
That's like 1990 or 91,
That's right,
something
yeah.
somewhere in there. And then I had Trump, had the space shuttle, had Lynn Bias. But I cannot believe in your top 10, Reagan being shot. Maybe you were too young.
I was just a little too young.
Okay. Yep. But I remember coming home from school and that news being on TV. And I do remember Reagan being shot, how bad that was. So yeah, that's it. Dale Earnhardt, number 2, and 9/11, number
All
1.
right. Let me ask you this, because you made me think of it with the Fort Worth Kennedy.
Yeah.
If Trump wins, is Kennedy in his circle somehow?
I think so, man.
I think so too.
I think he respects
the
him enough.
bigger question that I have: does he release the information?
Oh, I think there's no doubt he's going to.
That's
to
what
do
they're.
that.
Are they scared of that?
I'm surprised Joe Biden just hadn't done it just to one up him before he gets there.
What? But what is it that we're going to find out?
Hey, real quick, this is such a cool topic that a guy at work sent me his list,
Mm-hmm.
and he's 74. His number 1 was the moon landing, JFK being, but he had one here I never thought about, Woodstock.
Oh yeah,
That was a big event for him. The Challenger,
Mhm.
the Twin Towers, 3 Mile Island.
Mm.
You know, if you're old enough, that was
yeah,
probably a
it's
big
deal.
He said Teddy Kennedy. That I guess. Oh wait a minute. What was the brother? There was
Robert and Jack,
Robert.
or Robert and
Scott Teddy
John.
Kennedy. I have to ask him what that's about. And then his last one, because he knows who I am, he put Virginia Tech beating UVA in Scott Stadium 55-17.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah. All right,
Anyway.
have at it.
I just got 3 things to say. God bless our troops. God bless America. And gentlemen, start your
Just making sure I'm not stepping on Kevin. Is he called?
Yeah, I told him 6:30.
Okay. All right. Well, 6:30. Should I still do?
I'm
my-
sorry, 6:35.
Okay. Well, there's a difference.
Well, 6:30 is when he uses
5 minutes is everything.
All right, you're wasting time.
Oh yeah, I am. All right. So hey, by next week, have at it next week. I just announced I won't be here, so Travis is going to fill back in.
Correct. We're
We
excited.
need to come up with a nickname for old T-Dog.
Fill in.
Fill in.
No, that doesn't sound right.
Might be true.
Life, liberty, happiness, patriot.
The LLH stud. So listen to this, man. This is from 2016. This is your next president, potentially, of what goes on in the next month. All right. So I want you to listen. It takes a little bit to get there, but listen to what they say at the very end, who your potential next president is. Cut 5. These are dumbasses. Okay. That's the dumbass from 2016. Potentially our next president in about 2 or 3 weeks, right? I thought it was going to happen already by now.
Gavin Newsom.
Knockwood.
Huh?
What? And what? Oh, you're talking about Harris. Okay.
That's Kamala.
Okay.
Okay, that interview was in 2016.
Yeah.
She was representing the Asian Indian community. And she said we, and then he said, hopefully, or whatever he said,
Yeah.
you could be the next
I thought she said senator.
Indian senator. She remember she was a senator.
Okay.
California.
All right.
Okay.
Well, that's how I got the.
But they were touting her then as the Indian senator, right? And of course, she didn't say knock on wood. She said knock wood. She was dumb back then. We just didn't know. All right, man. I'm going to enrage you with these next 2 clips. All right. I want you to just listen to this, and then I want you to get angry because we have to fight, Brian.
I'm listening.
All right. Let's listen to Claude Van Damme on cut 12. Does he take a nap?
Okay.
Okay. The question was, does he take a nap every day? Okay. That she didn't answer it.
No,
right?
It's a simple yes or no.
Yeah. You could even say he takes a 20-minute siesta every day to reinvigorate himself so he can go
Sure.
to 11 o'clock at night. One of the probably top 5 lines last night was DeSantis saying being president takes longer than from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Right?
Yeah.
That's a great line.
Yes.
Blinken, this came out today.
He's an idiot.
Blinken had to go meet German officials who were waiting on Biden
Yes.
because he was taking a nap at 2 o'clock.
Yep.
Do you know what year that was? 2022. They've been dealing with this, and how they have hidden this and kept it under wraps is beyond me. It's infuriating.
I heard the other day a cabinet member said he hadn't met with Joe Biden in 2 years. How's that possible?
Yeah, exactly.
How has a cabinet member not met with the president of the United States for 2 years?
Okay. The one that I think is going to make you even angrier. All right. What was the part of the debate that you hated the most? I'm just guessing. If you had to think about what made you the maddest about what Biden might have said.
Oh gosh. Him saying he didn't lose a service member.
Here we go. Cut 21. Let's listen to her answer. Fucking job.
What's that got to do with the question?
Answer it.
The company said.
Answer the question. Did you watch?
If it was so important, how come we forgot about it?
Great.
With so much gratitude, he forgot about it. Well, he can repay him by remembering.
Wasn't a comparison.
He cares so deeply. His scorecard was 0.
That's exactly right. That
0.
It wasn't, I've lost 2% of what you did.
No.
That's not what he said.
No.
I
He's
haven't
lost
lost anyone. Okay. She infuriates me so much that she does. I appreciate the question. And I answered that on Friday, but I'll re-answer it for you because I'm so much better than you guys are.
I didn't answer it Friday, and I ain't answering it
And
today.
I continue not to answer anything. But last night, dude, Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Okay. I'm going to get chills and I might get emotional about it. She was so damn good last
She
night
was.
that I woke my daughter up from her bed. Well, I didn't wake her up. I walked in and she looked like she was about to go because it was almost midnight and she falls asleep and she was out. I was like, hey, could you spend 10 minutes and come watch this? I said, I want you to
phenomenal.
watch a woman that has command. She's a leader. She's compassionate and she's got emotion. And I said, I just want you, I'm not asking you to be a Republican. I didn't say all this to her. I just want you to see this speech. I watched the speech 3 times last night. When she went to that part about what she had gone through as the speaker, the press secretary,
Mhm.
if someone had spit on KJP's car, Claude Van Damme's, today,
Oh, God.
while she's at her 3-year-old kid's preschool,
Mm-hmm.
if someone didn't serve her like they didn't in Lexington, right?
Exactly.
What would the news?
Oh, God.
And we have forgotten how in
Disgusting.
gutter they were to her. Because, and dude, when Trump tells her, you're strong, you're smart, you're beautiful, and you're good at what you do, it's why they hate you.
Mhm.
Oh, man. God, that was so good.
It is, and it's the truth.
Yeah.
It absolutely is the truth. I'm pretty sure I asked Reagan to stay and watch that because she just came in the bedroom and I said, "Look at her."
Yeah.
Now, secretly, you should tell everybody that you have a crush on her. You left that part out.
Smoking, even when she was big, smoking. Now she's out of my league. Before I think I could have got her, but now no way.
Hanging around like a loose tooth.
Why are my dentures in the ice tray?
It's Carolina Kevin.
Oh, it's that guy again.
What up, K-Dog?
This is Carolina Kevin. Pull up a chair.
Oh, God. This is the way we start. Oh, what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about the attempted assassination of the President Trump.
I'm sure y'all done talked enough about that.
We did. Hey, I don't want to get you off your thing, but I do have a surprise sound for you if we get a chance. I don't know if Woody got that. There's a cut 44, Woody.
Did you get cut 44 for Carolina, Kevin?
I do.
Woody, Kevin, I need you to hear this. Takes a little bit of second.
I wonder if he can hear it though. That's a good question.
Oh, you know what?
Kevin, can you hear this?
Big girls, they don't cry.
Well, you can't hear it if you're talking.
Oh, no, I don't hear my cut. That was my cut 45.
Did you hear it, Brian?
Yes.
The,
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do the impersonation of it, Kevin. It went. Do you know what that was? The new NASCAR car that's coming.
Oh, stop. No, it's not.
I promise you.
It's not. I'm not saying
it's taking
that is
over.
fake news.
No, it was in Chicago.
Oh, no, they made it, and guess what? They scrapped it. That's how bad it was.
Well, I'm just telling you that they brought it to Chicago streets and they
Yes.
raced it to show everybody what could be coming.
No,
And I got it.
I hear you, but they already squashed that.
All right, Kevin, I'm going to send it to you on the side so you'll hear it.
It's horrible.
It's awful.
And I remember Kevin
What I
Harvick.
just heard right now, I about fell out on the floor. So I don't think anything could have got any worse.
Kevin Harvick said, "Thank God they did this so they could see how bad it really was." And it was so bad.
Yeah.
They didn't want to finish the car, but was obligated to.
Mm.
So he said, "Don't worry, we're in no danger of seeing that anytime soon."
You don't think there's going to be an e-car one day or a nice car?
Oh no, they've already talked about that. There are lower segments that already have the e-cars.
Okay.
Yeah, that's already here. But you're not going to see NASCAR. It's not happening.
You get the right green person in there. What if AOC takes over NASCAR?
Oh my God.
It could happen. I just
Crazy as
Yeah,
she is.
man.
I just saw that and I thought of
I
Kevin.
don't know.
Kevin, you know,
Look where Galston-
we are working
where
behind the
Galston went
scenes to get you some Carolina Kevin merch. We have a merch store.
Behind the scenes. Who's behind the scenes?
What are you?
Trent.
Are you still working on that?
Yes.
How the hell can we get a Carolina Kevin merch before a Have At It merch?
Because Carolina Kevin has the toodaloop. You don't have any of that yet.
I got the intro music.
Nah.
Kevin James.
We are working on the Carolina Kevin merch.
Oh, yeah, we're efforting that.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll have official Media Squad store soon.
Sounds like a KGP answer.
I hear what you're saying. I hear you. It means a lot to me. This merch means a lot to
Thank
me.
you.
I mean, yes. Thank
Hey,
you,
Kevin.
Brad.
Thank you for letting me answer that question.
Kevin,
Ugh.
What?
you have three choices. Okay. Jean Pierre, Karine Jean Pierre.
What are we asking?
I'm asking. You have these three choices. One of them you have to go out on a date with. Karine Jean Pierre or Maxine Waters. Who would be the third?
Like in the world of horribleness?
Yes, he's got to choose one.
Hillary.
Oh, yes, Hillary, because she's your favorite. Those are your three choices. Which one are you going out with?
Hillary.
Why Hillary?
Because she reminds me of Martha Stewart.
I guess if you squint your eyes, you can make something better out of it.
Yeah. Oh, God.
I'm just saying, Snoop Dogg. I mean, he went on down to the level.
Lord.
Oh, God.
Ain't no shame in this. Ain't no shame in this game. I just break it down a bag like James.
Jeez. You got anything for the show today, or are you just hanging out?
I mean, didn't y'all have something about like events that happened? I think Trent said that on Facebook.
Yeah. What do you remember? What big events happened in your life that you remember where you were when it happened?
Number one is when my daddy died.
Oh, that's a
Number
personal
two
thing
is
instead of
when
news. But
September, the 11th.
All right. Hold on.
9/11.
Where were you 9/11?
In Richmond, Virginia, where you come up and help work one time.
No. Well, then who was with me? We were downtown putting HVAC.
You was with Dustin. I think.
Dustin, and you were in Richmond with, what was that guy's name?
Carl.
Carl. Y'all were doing Uncle Bob's storage.
That's correct.
Okay.
I was
Cool.
at work. Tanya told me about it.
Where were you when Dale Earnhardt?
Down at Dustin.
Dustin's
We were watching
basement.
the
Yeah.
Daytona 500. He passed away. And then the next day, all the radio stations, all was just playing and people were calling in, reminiscing. And the biggest one was John Boy and Billy Show, 96.3 ROV.
Yeah.
They had an open line all day. You could call in and tell your stories about meeting him or, whatever. It was a very movable day the next day with John Boy and Billy. They actually out of Charlotte.
Gotcha. Yeah. I do remember. I was never a fan. Trent, you hated John Boy and Billy.
Couldn't stand him.
Still don't.
The fake laugh. I just couldn't get past.
Yeah.
Just say something normal in it. Marty said, OJ, she agreed with you, but her list is Anna Nicole. I guess
Oh my God.
the Anna Nicole death.
Marty.
That's on hers. And Jessica
Brian.
Simpson and Nick Lachey filing for divorce.
Jesus God.
Do you remember when
Hell.
Brian? Do you remember when we watched when Princess Diane got married?
Yeah, that's what I said. Yes. Now hold
That was
on.
that
Because
was a big deal.
where were we?
We was not at our house. We was at somebody else's house in the living room on a hardwood floor.
Hank and Jamie's house
That's right, in Tennessee.
in Lee County, Virginia. Jesus, does he not know where our relatives live?
That's Trent's like 5 miles from the Tennessee line. I can still consider Tennessee tri-state, and in the corner.
It is. Oh,
Brian has to be technical though.
well,
But
you
yeah,
have
I
to be-
remember that.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, y'all getting any rain down there?
Just got some not long ago.
Hey, tell me again why my tomatoes haven't changed colors.
Probably because you don't have enough of lime in the ground.
Jesus, with the lime. Y'all's answer to everything is lime.
It's true.
You stupid. I've got a ton of tomatoes, but they're all just as green as this Mountain Dew bottle.
Well, you're about 2 or 3 weeks away from handing out tomatoes to everybody. Trying to get
Frickin'
rid of them.
squirrels.
Mm.
Quit. Every morning I find one of them on the ground where a squirrel has gnawed into it.
Kevin, did you have any others
Well,
on your
yeah.
list?
Well, I mean, I remember my biggest ones are like, of course, 9/11. Then you had Princess Diane getting married. Then you had Dale Earnhardt, his wreck. And you're talking about political stuff, just not personal.
No, it could be
I
anything.
remember-
Honestly, anything.
Well, when Dylan, when he decided to go into the Marines, when he called and told me,
Yeah, that's awesome.
like caught me off guard, and I'm like, wait, hold on a second.
Yeah.
Dylan, do you not understand that they're the hardest, like, the armed forces in the whole United States? Like, their boot camp is not like regular. They like go to a different level.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, if I'm going to do it, I might as well do it. I'm going to go through the motions anyway. So that's where I'm going. I was like, okay. I'll never forget when he called me. I was working and riding down the road going to another cemetery when he called and told me, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And then it kind of hits you, as a father, you like,
Yeah.
Thinking about the worst.
Yep.
But I think that helped him project him into where he's situated now. It primes you up for times that you may have encountering in that type of line of work. But, I pray for him and everybody else every day that's
Yep.
in that industry, because you just don't never know.
You ever get to, you've been watching any of the convention, RNC?
Oh, yeah. The
Yeah.
biggest one I think I've taken from all of it was probably the other night when Lee Greenwood was singing the song and Trump come out and his son
yeah.
was sitting there, and
Mm.
he got emotional. He didn't show it too much. You could tell he was trying to hold it back.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought
But you
that
can
up.
also tell that that it was, he was in the moment. Everybody was in the moment.
Yeah.
That it's no less than a damn miracle. You got to understand that.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's like Ben Carson said last night. It's in the Bible, and it states whatever you try to do to another man, like when God's on your side, it doesn't matter what weapon you got or whatever you try to do, whether you weaponize the the government, or whether you weaponize just a regular person out here in society. Like, it doesn't matter how much you try to put this person down. If it ain't in the plan of the man, it ain't gonna happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was a pretty good, introduction and all, and you could visibly see Trump has physically changed a little bit in his facial expressions during the introduction of the convention and all. But who would not be? I mean, escaping literally death by millimeters, and it puts you in a different perspective. Believe me, working in the death care industry, dealing with death every day, it puts you in a different perspective in life.
Yeah.
And so I'm pretty sure that mindset changed. And to be honest, not saying he was a bad person, but he's probably going to be a hell of a better person moving forward in some of the decisions he makes for the country, but mostly in his personal life.
It's very similar to Reagan. After he got shot, he
Absolutely.
said he felt divine from that point forward.
Yeah. You know, somebody at work mentioned that he wondered if he was going to ratchet it down a little bit. And I thought, man, he's almost just as likely to think it's time to ratchet it up. God's on my side. I mean, like, he wants me to do this. You know what I mean? You could go either way, honestly. It seemed like, I tell you what, man, I've always said he plays chess when I don't know what he's doing. And he, at the back end, I realized, man, he's been playing this right the whole way. The way he handled that Monday night with just what Kevin was saying, the look on his face, and just
look of peace.
And I get a second chance, or I get another chance at this.
He's
right?
got a bonus round.
I could be gone.
Yeah.
I could be missing all this, and everybody around here could be missing me. But it seems like he misses them. Like, you can see him talking when politicians are talking, and it's almost sort of rude when he does it. But when the people are up there talking, he doesn't. He listens to what they got to say. And I was like, man, he's just a man of the people.
Yeah, I've never understood the people that say that he does his own thing. He doesn't listen. If you know anything about Donald Trump, the dude absolutely listens. That's how he forms every opinion he's got. Is not just he woke up and decided I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
That dude's a negotiator. No. And to negotiate, you have to do it from a position of power. You don't get power just by willy-nilly saying, I'm going to do this.
You know, it's funny you mention that, because one of the strategies I think they've done too is personalize Donald Trump these last 2 days. Ben Carson, I mean, he was president before, right?
Yeah.
Ben Carson, we've heard hundreds of times. Ben Carson last night talked about the story where he met Trump before Trump ran. He doesn't know that Trump knows him, and they're talking, and someone comes in and tells him Rod Stewart is here to see him.
Yeah.
And he goes, are you kidding me? I got Ben Carson with me.
Right.
That kind of just, care about someone that he doesn't even know that he should care about him. I just thought, man, it was really well done how they've been trying to personalize him a little bit better and tell you more about him as a man.
Yeah, because I think they missed those opportunities previous.
Yeah. Well, also, we have known, right? Because we've been a fan or whatever.
Yeah.
It's surprising where the people that haven't heard are saying, like last night, I happened to be on Fox. Who's the black guy that's kind of taken over for Juan Williams? There's a guy that.
Oh, yeah. Harold Ford.
Yes.
It's good.
Dude,
I like him.
I didn't know that I could actually listen to him. And I just happened because I'm flipping all the channels and I don't want to watch Fox. But I heard him say, I hope the DNC is watching this methodology, because what the RNC, they've knocked it out of the park. Yeah. They're letting the people speak. And he said, these testimonials you cannot deny them.
Yeah.
It was so well done.
Kevin, you want to hear a quick story?
And I want to ask Woody a question real quick.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Woody,
turn your mic on.
Yeah.
do you have any of those buttons that you push like they had in the last debate where you only have 1 minute to respond and then you click and it cuts the microphone off?
Yeah, I can do that. Yeah.
Who do you need to cut
put
off?
that for Trent and Brian when they call Carolina Kevin.
Oh, my gosh.
By the way, it's interesting you say that, because the funny thing about that cutting the mic off was the reason they were doing it beforehand, obviously, was because Donald they didn't want him to be able to interrupt the other guy.
Yeah.
But actually, what it ended up doing was saving Biden.
Yeah.
Because he started mumbling and trailing off. That when the mic went off, he's still talking without a sentence.
Well,
It ended up saving Biden because it saved him from himself.
yeah. An idiot.
But I don't go mumbling off and trailing off.
No, you don't.
Yet.
So
Oh,
I have a list here, and I want, if you guys have seen these guys talk, and I wish I'd looked up the name. So I got the top speeches that I've seen so far.
Okay.
All right. So, and I didn't write 10 of them down. I got number 7 was this guy from Michigan. He was on the first night. It
Yes.
was the night they did black to black to black, back to back to
Mhm.
back. It was 3 guys in a row. I was like, damn, y'all couldn't split them up a little bit. Like, what are you trying to do? But anyway, the third guy was from Michigan. He was so good. He actually looked like Obama, maybe a little bit darker. And their adjectives is what I'm using, is the description of the guy. God, he was so good. I think he's a military guy. But number 6, Mark Robinson from North Carolina.
Mhm.
Did you see him, Kevin? Monday night?
yeah, yeah.
Holy
Yep.
cow, that guy's good. That guy could convince me to vote for him for dog catcher, and I'd do it. Number 5, last night every time a speech happened, I kept thinking, well, that's going to be one I'd hate to follow. Laura Trump last night,
She was good.
the part at the end when she starts thanking Trump, but she's looking at him eye to eye. She doesn't look at the crowd. You know how they turn left and they turn right while they talk?
Yeah.
She doesn't do that. She looks at him and thanks him for being her father-in-law. Thanks him for being the father to her husband. Thanks her for being him for being a grandfather.
Mhm.
And she never takes her eyes off of him.
Yeah.
Oh my
It's
God.
genuine.
It was so well done.
Yeah, and she's from North Carolina. Her
Yeah.
her backstory is pretty cool. I mean,
So it was her backside.
wow. I can't.
Mm.
I'm going to tell you who I was surprised by, and I've heard him in person. I mean, I've seen him in person. Shake his hand. Youngkin on Monday night.
Yeah, he was good. He
Oh my God.
delivered.
And dude, he did it with that growl
Yeah.
and that roar kind of a
Yeah.
thing. I've never seen him do that before. He's such a nice guy. But man, he did it with conviction. The stuff that he was just belting out there, I was like, man, you got a little Mark Robinson in you.
Is he our replacement for Warner?
Oh, please. Yes.
He's
Senator
got to
Warner.
be.
Yes. I don't know what else he's going to do because actually he only has a year left as governor, right?
Just a
He-
year?
He can't run
No.
again. Yes, he does.
Is it just one more year?
Yeah. The Virginia's the year after the election, the presidential election. Yeah. He's in year number 3. He'll be in 4.
Jeez.
And then we got Winsome Sears, but I don't know what he could go literally serve in the cabinet, I would think.
Well, I would say Warner's probably coming up.
Well, I'm assuming it's every 3 years, right? Because they're 6-year runs, right? So it'd be staggered.
What's 6-year one? It's the Senate.
Like your Senate is 6 years. So I'm assuming that it's a 3-year run, and Tim Kaine is now. So it would be 3 years from now before Warner. So it's 2027 is when Warner would be up. I'm guessing.
First of all, that son of a bitch is 70.
Warner,
Yeah.
that's another lie, by the way. Biden, when he's talking to, I don't think it was the black guy that just interviewed him. It was, and the question was, Senator Warner has gotten a group of people to say that you should step down. Do you know what Biden's answer was?
What?
Well, I know Mark. Mark ran for this office to make it sound like that they were running against one another, and that's why we would have done it. Dude, how long ago would Mark Warner would have tried to have run for president? I mean, it's even way back before 2016. It has to be. But
No.
that's the answer he used in 2024. He just used it a couple weeks ago.
It was Webb, but I don't think it was Warner.
I know Webb ran more recently than Warner
Yeah.
did. I think Warner might have done one of those feelers.
Oh,
But Biden is so mean, dude. He's a vicious dude.
yes.
Biden is a mean guy.
He's an idiot.
And so when he's backed in the corner, and by the way, when they come and ask him, is he going to tone down his rhetoric? When you're calling the man that you're going against as taking away your right to vote
yes.
and that he's Hitler, that's the rhetoric. And he's trying to say he's not doing that he's not doing the rhetoric. He's always blaming the other guy. Number 3, DeSantis last night.
Kevin, you still there?
I'm listening.
Thanks. Probably more so than Brian.
I'm listening.
DeSantis. Did you enjoy him?
Yes, but not. I don't put him up there with the rest of them.
Oh man, I thought he was fantastic.
Vivek was at the top of my list with Sanders. But go ahead.
Yep. And I got Sanders number 2 and Vivek number 1. So if you hadn't heard, did you hear Vivek yesterday?
Yep.
Kevin? Yeah. So that's how I'm into the show.
Oh yeah.
The channel I was watching did not show him, which really ticked me off. So I'm going to play
What
him
show are you on?
to ABC News Live. It's their 24-hour news channel.
Dun, 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 dun. All right. Well, we got to wrap up the show, Kevin.
Oh, shoot.
7:00. Trent
Well,
used
you
all your
didn't say
time.
anything about the Chrisley's daughter.
Oh, she was good too.
Who?
I was shocked that they let her speak.
Who?
Trent
Savannah
doesn't-
Chrisley.
Yeah, Trent doesn't know who the Chrisleys are. Your wife knows who the Chrisleys are. I can guarantee you that.
Oh. Is she the one that her parents have gone to jail?
Yes.
Yeah, she's pretty hot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I will say,
He said that.
what?
Well, I mean, that's my description for
That's how
everything.
you know.
She is hot.
Yeah.
I,
Well,
I think her
there's been
parents
some
were,
up there that aren't.
her parents were definitely wrongful. I mean, it was so stupid.
So are they still in jail?
Yes.
And what they do?
I think the
wrong?
mom's going to be let out because they
Tax
couldn't.
evasion or something.
It was the business partner that screwed them over, and they used them as an example. And it was your Fulton County district attorney to make an example out of them.
Where's Fulton County?
Atlanta.
And said
Oh,
that
oh,
they
yeah,
they
jeez.
are better. They're no better than Donald Trump in the South. So they
Yes.
compared
They used
her
to call them
family
the
to
Trump
Donald
of the
Trump.
South,
Yeah.
the Chrisleys.
Yeah.
They had a funny show. It is a funny show.
Huh, I've never heard of
But
it.
anyway, she's hot, more hotter than your girl you was talking about earlier, Huckabee. But sorry, Trent.
Huckabee's she's done a great job as governor, though.
Yeah.
She's not just up there talking. She's led. She kicked China out.
Youngest governor.
Oh, and then she required the Bible to be taught back in school.
I'm not talking about qualifications. I'm talking about look, physical look.
That is a qualification.
She's not. She's not on my top 10.
What?
All right, I'm getting off here.
All right. We'll see you next week.
I got 2 words for you, Trent.
Okay.
The first word of the day was last week when we didn't have a podcast. That word of the day is jumper cables.
Okay.
On my phone, I don't have you as Trent Warner or W or TW. I just have you as jumper cables because you're always starting shit. And anyway, the second word of the day is cation. I need with some kind of cation. I don't know if it's a vacation or a staycation or some medication, but I need a cation. So there you go. Toodaloo.
Guys, I've got a real time update
Oh,
that happened during the show. Can I share it real quick?
yeah, of course.
All right. So,
Well, it's Brian's show.
this is a conspiracy theory, but I'm excited to talk about it.
All right. We'll see y'all next week. Go ahead.
All right. So Biden remember he did the interview Wednesday that's going to be released today about, he said, if I have some medical condition that emerged, if doctors come to me and said, you've got this problem, then he would drop out. Right.
Okay.
All right. So this happened during the show, just so y'all know, just for.
Oh my God.
So they've planted the seed, just so you know. They're doing it.
Of why he's sick?
Listen, so no, he got asked in this interview this week, would you step down? And his answer was, if I had some medical condition that emerged, I would step down, but I'm not going to step down.
Yeah.
That interview hasn't even been released yet. And then there's sources that were talking about the interview itself and said that he just was trailing off during the call or whatever.
So
And
this
then-
is their excuse why it was so bad.
Well, this is why I think he's going to step away for a while. And I think this might be the start of them ushering him out because of a medical condition, not because of just him
Dude.
asking him to step down.
I look at this and you know what I
This
think?
is it. This is happening.
This dude has done like 10 events in a row.
Yeah.
And even though they're controlled and small events,
Yeah.
he's wore out.
Yeah.
This
he's
is
done.
because it
He's done.
says he's back to Delaware. That dude just wants to go back to sleep. I don't think he's going
Oh.
anywhere. I think this dude just wants to go back to
This
sleep.
is it. This is it.
He was supposed to be in Vegas and he's back in Delaware because he tested positive for COVID. First of all, raise your hand if you've taken a COVID test in the last year.
I never.
How many times have you
I-
been sick? A couple of times, right?
Yeah.
And you don't know who's testing positive for COVID
Dude,
anymore.
they're still eating up with that stupid stuff.
So I'm telling you.
But I
this is it.
guarantee you, they got like random ones in their pocket to pull out just in case they need an excuse.
Trump probably had COVID when he was shot.
But you think this is like the medical thing that they would use? To
This
say
is
he
the
needs to
start.
step
I
aside?
think
You
this
think
is
COVID?
yeah. This
can't
is
think
something.
COVID.
Something will happen, and this is the excuse because that was the only reason that he said. And I think that they're planting the seed. I think that's.
I do think he's going out. I don't think
This
he's
is
gonna
it.
make it through the DNC.
He's not. He's not gonna make it.
I don't think
No.
it's happening.
All right. The only reason I say, they had them cancel the virtual. Have you heard about all that?
Mm-mm.
They were supposed to have a virtual roll call so that,
Oh, before the
yeah,
so that he can be nominated
correct.
officially.
Yes.
Yeah.
But now they're calling that off.
Uh,
That's why I thought, well, he's done stepped in and said, look, I ain't going nowhere.
yeah.
Again, listen, they've got bigger problems if he does step down.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because you can't bypass Kamala. That's going to look horrible.
Well, technically they could. It's going to look horrible.
No,
but-
you can, but
Yeah.
you bring up bigger issues.
Yeah.
You don't have the money.
Yeah.
Because the money has to stay with the Biden Harris campaign.
Yeah.
That's one I didn't know.
Hmm.
It is a campaign finance violation if you move the money outside of that campaign.
So you got.
So you can't just give the money to another campaign.
It's going to be interesting. He ain't going to let go. He'll just come up with whatever lie because he doesn't want to go do something.
Yeah.
He'll
This
lie.
is how they're gonna make it for him, though. They're gonna
Yeah.
make the decision for him now.
Hey, Woody, I don't know if you noticed there on that thing that you can skip forward a little bit.
Oh,
on
okay.
that,
On the end.
yeah, if you go
You said
30
to-
seconds, go 30 seconds ahead, and that's when the speech
All right.
starts.
I'm ready whenever you are.
Yeah, Brian, are you ready to hit the
Yes.
road?
Gotta
Everybody-
go. I will see you
Great
next
week,
week.
great interview, man.
Yep.